Well, hey everybody. I'm just back from visiting the 2026 Detroit show. And hey, I had a fun time. First going in, got to see the Corvettes here. The GM display was kind of front and center. Got this really nice Z06 with 670 horsepower, normally aspirated. And then this Corvette, which is 2,000 horsepower of electric with four-wheel drive, and then the ZR1 250 limited edition series. And I really like this car because it's got the hybrid system that I helped lay the groundwork for back in about 2014. And then the big GMC SUVs. I've got a Yukon XL. I really love those. They're great vehicles. And then I stopped by the Buick display and saw the Enclave Avenir, which it's a little newer version of one that my parents have, and I've driven that a few times. It's pretty darn nice vehicle. All-wheel drive and snow is really great. And then getting around to the Chevy display, and I kind of like this Equinox. It was the sporty version. But GM had a pretty darn nice display out there with all the trucks and cars and so forth. And then I got over on the Cadillac side and saw this Escalade. This is the Escalade that's a V-Series with 682 horsepower supercharged. Pretty cool. And Cadillac had a number of, two electric concept vehicles that were pretty nice. And then there's the electric Escalade. Oh, this one was pretty nice. The CT5 V-Series, again with lots and lots of horsepower. And Cadillac had a display indicating they're getting back into Formula One. But all in all, Caddy had a nice display, and again, lots of performance and powerful cars. Now across the way, you got Lincoln and Honda, and they of course had some nice cars on display too, even though I'm kind of primarily a GM fan. But also, the Detroit Auto Show used to be North American International Auto Show, and it seems that now it's a little smaller, and they have more room on the floor. So there are 4 different test tracks out there this year, and this one is Ford's running the Broncos up and down and running them through their paces. Quite up the grades and down, and this tilting platform in the middle is kind of an interesting thing. And if you've seen some of my videos, I've got a top tier video explaining what top tier gas is. They had a display as well. This was one of the tracks back at the back, again, where you could line up for the different brands and get a ride. The Detroit Grand Prix and related motorsports had a display. And then Stellantis, I really enjoyed their display. They again had a lot of high performance vehicles. And then Jeep, they had a very nice off-road simulation where they would take you for a ride around. And to me, this was the nicest ride along. So I took the time to get in line and take a ride through this one. It looked pretty nice, and it's like, hey, let's go have some fun. They really get you up high in the air up there, and steep, I think they're 40-degree up and down grades. So this was the starting point where you get on the vehicle, and here's my ride.
off camber on this bridge to start. 3.6 liter V6 in here. Sitting on 33 inch tall tires, so it's giving us 10.8 inches of ground clearance. Alright, up we go. 30 feet off the ground. We're looking at about 40 degrees of angle here.
Well, that would have been my next question.
Yeah. 40 degrees down as well. Next up is our crevasse. We use our forward-facing camera. That's nice and centered through there. And now we're looking at about 30 degrees of angle on this wedge. There's all of our drivetrain info. Showing you the sway bar is disconnected. And we have axle lock mirrors for the front and rear. Fully integrated nav system in there with the 3D imaging.
Then I swung back by this Michigan Overland Adventure where they had a lot of outdoor featured trucks. And then back around to Stellantis. And again, they had the high performance vehicles out here. They had this Charger RT with there was a 6-cylinder twin turbo over 400 horse, and the Durango Hellcat, and that's another high performance, supercharged Hemi. Pretty cool vehicle, even for a guy who's mostly GM. There's that Hemi. And then they got into the trucks. Even the trucks were high performance. This was a 650 horsepower supercharged 5.7 Hemi. And then you had this TRX at 777 horsepower. And then the Jeep. This Jeep is electric, and I kind of felt sorry for the guy who was making the show for it, because nobody seemed to want to see the electric Jeep. He'd kind of give his pitch, and that was it. And then we got into Ford. Ford had a really nice display here, and had their racing vehicle on display, and lots of Mustangs and trucks, and very nice. I kind of like this Expedition. I hadn't seen this before. Maybe they've had it before, but this two-piece tailgate where you have a lift gate, but you have about maybe an 8-inch tailgate that swings down, that you can have a sort of a work surface out the back. As a Yukon guy, it's worth taking a look at. And then the Mustangs. Here's the Mustang RTR. And I'll call it the regular Mustangs. I really kind of like these. They still kept the body style a lot like my old 428 69 Mustang. And then the Maverick truck, which had some awards, and it's a pretty nice truck. Reminds me a lot of the Ranger from the 1980s, only a lot more tech to it now. And then the most high performance Mustang, this Dark Horse supercharged Mustang. And then here's one of the other ride around tracks where you could get in vehicles and they'd take you for a ride. And, Toyota's out there, and Kia. And the interesting thing about both Toyota and Kia was they were showing hybrids more than electrics. Kia did have an electric, but like this van was listed as a hybrid. So, it's kind of different than some of the domestic manufacturers. Oh, and then the exotic car section. They had a large section that you could go back here and take a look at. This, what they call it, the gallery. And lots of exotic cars. Some of them brand new and some of them a couple of years old, but all pretty cool. So old Morgan, it's an old vehicle style, but they still keep building them. Porsche. Lotus. Lots of nice cars back here. The Pagani. Some of these are really, really cool vehicles. And then there was a section for the Car of the Year award winners, and that Dodge was one of them. Mercedes had a display. And then Ferrari, and this is an older one, the LaFerrari. We used that with a benchmark for that Corvette hybrid powertrain. Downstairs they had, it's kind of like car clubs came in and brought people's private vehicles and put them on display. And then kind of finally they had the Army's M1, the next gen M1 tank, where they're going to diesel and hybrid power. And I take kind of special look at that because I was a transmission test development engineer for the original M1 tank, M1 and M1E1, M1A1. And I did a lot of work on those transmissions and the gas turbine engine. And they were a pretty cool vehicle. So it's interesting to see that they've reached the point where they want to go and get back into diesels. Should be interesting to see how it develops. And when I was done with that, I walked through the cars down here in the lower level, and that kind of made it a day. So, hey, that's what's at the auto show this year. Thanks for watching, and hey, that's all for now.